Assassin's Creed Unity, released by Ubisoft in November 2014, is often remembered for two reasons: its groundbreaking potential and its infamously bug-ridden launch. Despite its shaky release, many gaming enthusiasts now regard Unity as a title that was ahead of its time, particularly in terms of graphics and gameplay innovations. Nearly a decade after its release, the game still holds up remarkably well, with a visual fidelity that stands the test of time and gameplay mechanics that set a new precedent for the open-world game. One of the most striking aspects of Assassin's Creed Unity was its visual detail and ambition. Set in revolutionary Paris, Unity aimed to recreate the grandeur and greatness of 18th century France with stunning accuracy. The game's rendering of the city, from its opulent palaces to its crumbling tenement buildings, was nothing short of a graphical triumph for its time. The level of details Ubisoft put into the city of Paris was groundbreaking. Every building in Unity was not just an exterior backdrop, many could be entered and explored, creating a seamless sense of immersion that few open-world games at the time could match. The interiors, ranging from cramped apartments to lavish ballrooms, were richly detailed, and the transition between outdoor and indoor environments felt smooth, enhancing the feeling of being part of a living, breathtaking world. The sheer scale and density of the city showcases Unity's technical prowess. The team used photogrammetry approaches that uses photographs to recreate 3D models of real-world environments to capture the essence of Paris. This made the game world not only vast but also intricately detailed. Landmarks like Notre Dame Cathedral were painstakingly recreated, down to individual bricks and architectural features. The meticulous attention to detail made the game world feel authentic and immersive, offering a level of historical realism that far surpassed previous installments. Moreover, the NPC crowds in Unity were massive and lifelike, unlike earlier Assassin's Creed games, which populated the world with sparse groups of characters. Unity rendered entire mobs of revolutionary street vendors and aristocrats. These NPCs had a variety of animations, action, and interactions, which made the streets of Paris feel alive. The game also featured cutting-edge lighting techniques. The use of dynamic lighting and realistic shadows elevated the atmosphere of Unity. Walking through Paris at different times of the day resulted in a noticeably different visual experience. The soft glow of the morning sun or the eerie darkness of the alley at night enhanced the game's emotional impact. Character models were another area where Unity pushed the boundaries. The textures, particularly on clothing and facial features, were incredibly detailed for the time. Ubisoft developers incorporated realistic fabric simulations which allowed clothes to wrinkle, shift, and move naturally with character movements. Similarly, the facial animations, although not without the glitches at launch, were among the most advanced in the gaming world. While the game's notorious glitches such as missing faces took away from these advancements at first, once fixed, players were able to appreciate the depth and nuance of the characters' visuals. Even years later, with updates, the game looks fantastic, rivaling some modern titles with its high-quality textures and lifelike animation. The movement system in Unity was one of its most ambitious changes. For the first time, in fact, Ubisoft revamped the parkour mechanics, aiming to make climbing and traversing the city smoother and more intuitive. The new parkour up and parkour down commands allowed players to more fluidly scale buildings and descend from them, providing a more precise control over movement. The ability to seamlessly navigate to rooftops of Paris without clunky, awkward animations was a huge improvement and one of the most brilliant aspects of this game. These systems also added a layer of learnings and strategy. Unlike previous games, where climbing any surface felt like a simple matter of pressing a button, in Unity required players to be more mindful of their surroundings. For example, certain areas were easier to climb, while others required more careful navigation, adding a degree of challenge and immersion to exploration. The introduction of RPG-like mechanics also added depth to the gameplay. Players for the first time could customize Arnold's gear, skills and weapons. This allowed for a more personalized experience, whether players prefer a stealthy approach or a more aggressive fighting style, similar to what is happening right now with Shadows. The variety of weapons and upgrades added another layer of complexity, encouraging players to experiment with different setups to tackle challenges more effectively. Another innovation Unity introduced was cooperative multiplayer. For the first time in the franchise, players could team up with friends to complete missions together. This co-op mode emphasizes teamwork and coordination, allowing players to combine their skills in a new and creative ways. The cooperative missions were often complex, requiring careful planning and synchronized actions, a sharp contrast to the more straightforward solo gameplay. Although the multiplayer feature didn't have the long-lasting impact Ubisoft might have hoped for, it was a forward-thinking action. The idea of co-op gameplay in a historical rich open-world setting remains appealing and will go on to influence future gameplay mode. Even today, many players appreciate the co-op experience that Unity offered, viewing it as an ambitious foray into multiplayer mechanics that future games in the series did not fully explore. The performance issues were particularly glaring on consoles at the launch, where the game suffered from frame rate drops, crashes and significant loading times. This tarnished the gameplay so. In conclusion, looking back, it's clear that Unity was a game that reached for the stars, even if it stumbled on the way there. Its stunning visual, detailed recreation of Paris, innovative gameplay mechanics and bold experiments with multiplayer were all ahead of their time. While its buggy launch may have overshadowed these innovations initially, time has allowed players to recognize Unity for the forward-thinking game it truly was. Today, it is seen as one of the most ambitious entries in the entire franchise, a game that pushed the boundaries and laid the groundwork for future advancement in open-world gaming. Here are some other my videos. If you like, please leave a like and subscribe, and we see in the next video.